parents, and coaches. Do you wish you had a safe social media platform for your youth athletes? Fortunately for you, there's a revolutionary new app that helps with just that. Introducing Small Player, Big Play. Small Player, Big Play app provides young athletes, parents, and coaches a user-friendly sports social media platform. The app allows users to connect with friends, make new friends, create groups, text, chat, and post pictures and videos of you and your teammates participating in your favorite sport or activity. To begin, users can simply download and sign up for the app using an email account. Younger users have the ability to sign up using their smartphone and a parent's email address. From there, users can begin to interact and engage with other users of the app. Small Player Big Play app also gives users the ability to live stream full games and events. You can live stream your event so that friends, family, or anyone in the world can see you in action. Users can also share posts from the app to their other social media accounts like Facebook and Twitter. What are you waiting for? Get in the game and share your love of sports with the world. Download the Small Player Big Play app today.
Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show!
The Joe Mays J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years. You are listening to the Joe Mays J-Raff Show.
Boring.
A weekly podcast about sports since 2011.
Don't you ever get tired of being wrong all the time?
With a focus on football.
Sue, late in his career, is going to have his first Super Bowl title. Now, no wonder they want to call it Tampa Bay. Or Tampa Brady. One more snap, would you have guessed when this impossible season was trying to launch that you'd get it all in, you'd get to Tampa, and when the Super Bowl ended, the ball would be in the hands of Tom Brady.
I don't know why we ever think it won't.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a second Super Bowl title in franchise history.
And Tom Brady doesn't pass the torch quite yet to Mahomes, does he? Even though
you're looking at the greatest right there.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Joe Mays J-Raff Show. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mays, and sitting somewhat near me is my co-host, Justin Raffoff, and I will bring him on here momentarily. But if you've been listening to us at all recently, you know that Justin and I have been playing NCAA Football 14 on Xbox 360. Justin and I are co-coaching, co-managing a Dynasty. We started with the Florida Atlantic Owls a few weeks ago. We are not doing great. We are 1-4, but hey, it's baby steps, building blocks, everything. It takes time. It takes time, and that's what we're in the middle of doing. So, of course, my camera over there isn't working yet, so I'll work on that. But, Justin, what do you think about our progress to date?
Well, we got a win last week, so that was good. And then we followed it up by losing again.
But, as we want to do.
Right. As we go against North Texas, I'm a little nervous for this one. But, yeah, I think it was good to get that win out of the way last week.
Yeah, I'm glad we no longer have 0 victories under our belt, because that is embarrassing. But it would be nice to get maybe victory number 2 here this evening. This week, I am on offense, you are on defense, and we're starting on the road at North Texas, who are 4-1 on the season. We're here in week 8 of the game. This is our 6th game in week 8 of the...
Because we had the double bye.
Right, yeah, we had the double bye. Awkward, weird. But it is what it is. We're going to get rolling. And during the show this evening, we're going to be talking Philly sports, which may be painful. March Madness, which was entertaining, but in the end, I don't think ended the way we necessarily wanted to. And we might mention something about the Masters, although that's going to be more on you than on me because I'm not a huge golf guy.
Yeah, and
so.
I watched a bunch. I watched it off and on at various times today, so kind of corresponding with the weather.
All right, so now that the intros are in order and I got the camera working, Justin and I are going to switch spots, and I'm going to take over the Florida Atlantic offense while Justin and I talk about sports. That's the point of this show, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, so here we go. Game 6, Florida Atlantic at North Texas. So Justin, what sports topic do you want to start with?
Go. Nice.
Oh, great. A flag, of course. Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's quick talk Masters, just because I don't know very much about
we
that.
Get that out of the way.
Oh, it was defensive. Was it defensive clipping they said? Or are they just asking North Texas where they want to do? They might have just been doing that.
Yeah, because we got it at the 14.
Yeah. Oh, so just it doesn't really matter because I'm on offense the whole game, but I changed from multiple to spread.
No, yeah. Might as well. So when for the Masters, started out on Thursday. Well, first of all, they played the last Masters 5 months ago because 2020, right? So.
Oh, right, that's right. It wasn't
so
canceled.
They played it in November.
November, right?
Right. So, Dustin Johnson won, and he shot 20 under. Right. So massive. Hey, there we go. Oh, nice run. So, lots of people were expecting like really low scores and everything, but the course plays completely different in
April versus November.
Right. So, -10 won, and Deki Matsuyamu won.
First Japanese-born player to win.
To ever win a major, let alone the Masters. Kind of cool. I think maybe a decade ago now, he was the low amateur, I think at the 2011 Masters. So there are certain amateurs in the field, and the winner of that gets recognized as well. And he won that award a decade or so ago.
That's cool. Did they ever say how many people have done both?
I don't know that it's many. I'll try and look it up on my phone, but it can't be that many. But yeah, that's a really good question. That would make a great trivia question. So yeah, it is really cool. I was kind of pulling for him. He had a 4-stroke lead going into the day. There were some ups and downs, and on 16, yeah. So on hole 16, he well, no, wait. I'm sorry. It might have been 15.
Yeah, I know it was near the end. It was the last few holes.
Yeah, so, like, he bogeyed one, and the guy birdied one, and so, like, next thing you know, he had a 4-shot lead with, like, 4 holes to go, and with 3 holes left, it was 2. Yeah, so it would have been 15. But then on 16, it kind of slips, and he actually, the guy he was going with who had pulled within 2, got a triple bogey because he put his first shot in the water. And so that was kind of the end of that. Although he did like bogey last hole, but he was kind of, he had a shot to play with. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have to go out and birdie the last hole or anything. But yeah, I was happy for him. I think it is 7 of 8 people who have had a 4-stroke lead going into the last round have won.
I would hope so.
Right. But,
professionals and all.
But it's crazy, man. Like you saw in this, like next thing you know, like he had a 4-stroke lead with 4 to go, and then he has a 2-stroke lead with 3 to go. You know, like, and then it that guy actually who had been in second place fell all the way to 3rd at that point. Nice, great start. So yeah, it was exciting. I'm happy for him. I thought someone brought up a really good point that, like, if you were like, oh, it's the Masters without Tiger, but they're like, it's not how it's traditionally been without Tiger. Because this is one of those where it was known all along that it was going to be without Tiger. You know, like it wasn't like, oh, is he going to compete? Is he going to compete? And he doesn't. It's just that he straight up isn't there, and everyone knew he wasn't going to be there. Oh gosh, I kicked it out of bounds.
You got to keep the kick in bounds. Here's the ref's
Yes,
call.
I know, Brad.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team.
His errant kick is
So,
it's a great starting point to begin their drive.
Absolutely.
I don't know what's going on with that camera.
With
It's
major intensity
constantly
to make
frozen,
up
so we're
that
just
one.
going to have to roll without it. Not sure why that's
So here
happening,
comes the
but
offense
that's
taking
okay.
the field for the first
People
time
are here to
today.
watch the game, so we'll show the game and talk. But, yeah, so Masters over. Not a lot of drama. There was a little bit, like you mentioned, at the end, but overall, it wasn't as big, I think, as people had wanted to. It wasn't as exciting. I feel like people also get super excited when someone is just dominating, like what the first time Tiger won.
Well, that's yes, and that's what it's fun to see. And he had a stretch yesterday, after the rain delay, where he was just lights out, and it was just incredible. I mean, he was just like pinpoint accuracy. They talked about how the field had gotten a little, how it had gotten softer so people could be more aggressive and so forth. But it was just fascinating to see him play yesterday.
Nice!
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, so besides the Masters, a few days after, well, actually, the night after our last show that evening, when I went upstairs and you left, one of the greatest March Madness basketball games ever.
Yes.
So, Gonzaga against UCLA, you know, UCLA, the huge underdog, the 11 seed, had to play in the first four. Here they are in the Final Four with the potential to go to the championship game. Hang tight. It goes into overtime. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to bed. Thankfully, when I got up to bed, I was like, you know what? I probably should pull this up on my phone and watch. And I'm super glad I did because...
I believe your text to me was, what did I just watch? Or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, that was unbelievable.
Oh, shoot. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that was an incredible game. Like the way he hit that shot, and then like UCLA, and then the guy just come down. I love that they didn't call timeout; that they just like let him play. 3.3 seconds.
Oh my gosh, go! Go! No! He fell! We're just trading interceptions here. I'm going to try to be a little bit better and capitalize off this one now. But yeah, I text you, what did I just watch? Because I wasn't sure if you had watched it or not.
Right, yeah, yeah. It was unbelievable. So it was really cool. It was an incredible game, and this might be some of my bias, but also I'll kind of lay out the reason. I feel like the Villanova UNC game, championship game a few years ago was a quote-unquote better game in the sense that you had North Carolina, and the shot that North Carolina hit to
send it to
tie the
overtime.
game at 74 was absolutely absurd. That three-pointer, like double, triple clutch shot kind of thing.
Come on.
But then the shot, you know, that Villanova hits it, and it's in the championship game.
Right.
Not that it takes anything away from the Gonzaga
No, I'm
game,
with you. I'm with you.
but I kind of feel like it does. You know, like,
But it does.
especially because they didn't win the championship then. So if they go on to win the championship, I don't
Right.
think it takes away
It
as much.
matters. Yeah, it matters more.
But like, because that Villanova shot at the buzzer, nice. Because that Villanova shot like was for the national championship,
No, I'm
to me,
with you.
that's
I'm
better.
with
Now,
you.
I root for Villanova, so like now I was rooting for Gonzaga too, but like
Yeah, so was I.
I would consider myself a Villanova fan, not like a diehard, but like a fan. I wouldn't consider myself a Gonzaga fan, but I was rooting for them.
Right.
But no, singly, like that game was outstanding.
It was fun to watch, that's for
Oh
sure.
my gosh, yeah, it was the most fun I had watching a college basketball game in a while. Like, it was really cool.
It was better than anything we got last year.
Right.
So, but then, like you mentioned, though, Gonzaga goes and kind of gets beat up pretty badly by Baylor.
Like it was a joke, but it's not really a joke. How like Baylor's guards like work out with the football team kind of thing. Like they played bully ball, man. They did whatever they wanted. And so it was interesting. I heard this conversation like, did Gonzaga choke? And somebody goes, I don't know. Like, I feel like Baylor was just a better team.
Right. Now, who were Baylor's 2 losses to? Because they were like 28-2 or something like that.
They might have lost to Oklahoma State once.
Okay.
And I'm not exactly sure. And they were scheduled to play in the regular season. They were scheduled to play. That might have gone out of bounds too.
Nope, you're good.
Okay. They were scheduled to play Gonzaga. Big hit, baby.
Well, this defense has got to be proud of what they've been able to do in this football game so far.
There we go. Let's get a screen capture of that. 1 yard, 2 interceptions so far.
Amazing.
And we'll give up a touchdown on this play.
This exact play.
Let's see if he can shake off that pick that he tossed last time out.
One general rule in any game is to hold on to the ball. If you're in the negative in the turnover department, your chances of winning decrease exponentially.
Throws it.
Oh, nice breakup. Nice breakup. Couldn't. 0 for 4, 2 interceptions. Their quarterbacks 0 for 4, 2 interceptions. You love to see it.
They're running our old offense.
It's 2nd and 10. Ball on the 18.
So yeah, so Masters March Madness, and congratulations to Baylor. I don't have anything.
Oh my
against
gosh,
them.
they played great, and you know what? Great job by them. Great job by them to come out. Like, you think about, and this is the coach that took over in the worst of times. Like, the worst of times. They had a player murder another player. Now, this is like almost 2 decades ago now.
I was going to say, that's a while ago now.
Murder another player, and then the coach got in trouble for helping to try and cover it up. Like, it doesn't get much worse than that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it gets any worse than that.
Throws it to the halfback on the screen. And he's tackled right
Yeah.
You want to do punt return?
3 yards.
You can do punt return.
Okay.
So we ran a tournament challenge, March Madness bracket challenge that we do every year. We unfortunately, like everyone, missed it last year, but we were back this year. We had, I think, 37 or 38 brackets, over 25 people.
Yeah, I was impressed with how many brackets we had
Yeah,
this
because
year.
there was no one 36 hours before we started. We had 6 total, and one of them was mine.
Well, to be honest, I felt like this year, especially for me too, I was in a spot where, I felt like I didn't do my brackets. Like, sometimes I'm doing them, on that Monday, when they come out that Sunday night.
Right.
Summers fields it 46.
There we go. Good field position.
Around the 38-yard line.
70 seconds to go. But, yeah, so we ended up getting a lot. It was a lot of fun. For the first time ever, no one predicted Baylor.
Yeah,
No one picked the champion. So it made things a little bit interesting, but still, because Gonzaga made the championship, anyone that had Gonzaga in the title game got a bunch of points, and that is what ended up getting the win for our pretty routine listener, almost weekly. John Rogers is the champion this year, so congratulations to John. I already mailed him his shirt.
Hey, there we go.
He's part of the Massachusetts crew that listens to us. And I haven't yet discussed with him about coming on the show, which I'm sure we'll be forced to talk about the New England sports scenes and probably the Patriots in particular. But we'll figure that out when we can find a date that works. But thanks to John for not only playing and being a listener, but also for all the stuff he's done of late for sending some vintage trading cards to my daughters to open. Baseball and...
I think they want you to run 4 vertical.
What's that? Yeah, you
want
think?
to run 4 vertical.
But John sent baseball and football cards from the 70s and 80s for my daughters to open, for Natalie and Haley to open. Oh, he dropped it. But yeah, so John Rogers is our champ. I think I finished 4th or something like that. I can't recall exactly. but I had a really good year. My biggest thing was Houston being upset by Baylor. I picked Houston to win it all, so that was a little sucky for me. But what do you want me to do? Should I just kick it since we're up so much?
I would kick it here, like especially because you gained a few yards. But that's just me because you can make it a 3-possession game.
Should I see if I can draw them off sides?
Yeah, actually.
Because we can call timeouts, so.
Just make sure you call timeout before the clock runs down, not the play clock.
What, like 3 seconds?
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. So I know this is not necessarily an exhaustive list, but Jack Nicklaus won low amateur title in 1960, but he also won a record 6 Masters titles.
Yeah, well,
So that would be one.
pretty good company. Field goals, I don't like kicking field goals.
There we go. There we go.
3-possession lead at halftime. You're gonna start here.
There's an upset on the horizon.
There's an upset on the horizon.
FAU.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
So very excited about that. But thanks to everyone that played in the tournament challenge. We always have a lot of fun. I know your dad plays 2 brackets in the top like 8 or something like that. I think my dad was 10th. My nephew Logan tied for 2nd, I believe it was. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I have the full post up on the Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, make sure you search and like the Joe Mays J-Raff Show on there. You can watch streams past and present and get updates like that. So unfortunately now we have to talk about Philly sports. The Flyers blew it today. I was actually watching the game, which I don't get to do that often. I tuned in with almost the entire third period, and with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to play, they were winning 3-2. Now, you probably know how it ended, Justin, but what would you think the outcome would be if there was less than 4 minutes to play and your team is winning by 1?
At worst, I would expect 4-3, like overtime loss, maybe.
So they lost 5-3. Yes, the Flyers lost 5-3 despite being up by a goal with 3.5 minutes 3 minutes and 40 seconds to play. Sliding. Amateur.
It's a 5 yards short. Oh, wait, sorry. I forgot. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
So
I got all mixed up because he slid.
So the Flyers lost 5-3. The Sabres, who are, I believe, the worst team in the National Hockey League.
Sorry, I didn't know he was going to get that block, or I would have tried to return it. I just don't want to screw it up. So fair catch.
So the Sabres are the worst team in hockey, and the Flyers lost to them for the 3rd time this year. Yes, the Flyers beat them 5 times, but they lost 3 times to the worst team in hockey. Today, blowing a goal lead and losing by 2 with under 4 minutes to play.
Yeah, that's like hard to do.
Right, it is hard to do.
To a bad team. It would be one thing to do that to a good team, but it's hard to do that to a bad team.
So if there's any chance of the Flyers being buyers, I assume that's gone out the window.
It should have.
I don't know if they'll be sellers or not, but Fletcher's got to figure it out because the trade deadline is tomorrow at like 3 or 4 o'clock. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh. But yeah, the Flyers are like 19-16 with some overtime losses there. They've definitely underachieved. They're outside of the playoffs right now. I think the odds of them making the playoffs are not great. Throw the ball! The one thing that makes me most mad about this game is the defensive backs that can make amazing interceptions.
Yes.
That one pisses me off the most. The next thing is when you're telling the quarterback to throw and he's not throwing.
Right.
Like what just happened there. It was frustrating. But yeah, so Flyers, a wasted season, abbreviated season, but still sucky and wasted.
Phillies.
Oh!
There we go.
Good in bubble.
I'm sure he thought there was going to be some room to run. Boy, did it vanish.
Anything to add about the Flyers?
No, like, it's disappointing. I don't know what to, like, chalk it up to. It's a weird year, I know that. But it's a weird year for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, not just the Flyers.
Well, like the Canucks haven't played a game in like a month.
Yeah, because what, like 2/3 their
They
team?
had basically their entire team had COVID.
Yeah,
so,
not like exposed, like had it.
Actually had it, right? So, yeah, it's another weird season, another weird year. But yeah, so I had this up briefly earlier, but I want to bring it up and mention it now. Thank you again to our sponsors at Mays Sandwich Shop and the Small Player Big Play app, and Bruce Badgley and everything that he does for youth and scholastic sports. If you haven't downloaded the app, make sure you do that on the Apple or Google Play app stores. And if you're interested or in the West Lawn, Pennsylvania area, check out Mays Sandwich Shop at ordermays.com. So, Flyers, crappy year, couldn't build off the momentum that part of the season last year. Looked like they were building something. Let's go to the Sixers next. And again, you're probably going to have to take the lead more so on this.
Okay.
But, like, some nights the Sixers look unstoppable.
Yes. And honestly, they've been decent. But the loss to New Orleans the other night was unacceptable.
Yeah,
That's
what
a
was
game you
that
have to
about?
win. Now, we talked a little bit about this last week. One of the keys to the Sixers, I think, is ending up, if they could somehow hold on to the 1 seed, and then end up with the Bucks and Nets in the 2-3, and they play each other, that would be huge. Because then, in theory, you only have to beat the Bucks or the Nets in the playoffs.
Right.
The Nets, who got smoked by the Lakers.
Destroyed by the Lakers without their top 3 players.
Yes, without their top 3 players. Now, I know Harden is out for the Nets, and Kyrie got ejected, but a player for Dennis Schroeder got ejected for the Lakers too. And while he's not he's not their top player or top 2 player, normally he is near the top right now, because LeBron and AD are both out. So, like, yeah, I'm not sold that the Nets are an all-time great team. Offensively, they are. Like, offensively, they're really great. But I don't know. Like, it's gonna be crazy because, like, I don't know if there's a team that can stop. If Harden, Durant, Kyrie are all healthy, I don't know if there's a team that can defend all 3 of them. But I don't know. Like, Kyrie will play defense. The KD plays defense, but KD, like, Harden does not.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. But I'm not, like, the key to the Sixers is it's always going to come down to health, and specifically for Simmons and Embiid. And they need the guys like Green and Seth Curry to hit nice. Very nice.
All right, we're moving in the right direction.
They need those guys to hit their shots, and if they are hitting their shots, I think the Sixers could win the East. I don't know that they're favored because the Nets are stacked, man. You look at the Nets, that could be like it's all all-stars. You know, like, not all, but they have a ton of all-stars.
Make it even better when we beat them.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Eastern Conference Finals, sweep them too, 4-0. Yeah, I know. It comes down to Embiid. Like,
Embiid at his best is one of the best players in the NBA. Like, I'm talking like top handful because he's just so unique. We have as many first downs as they have yards. That's a good game.
Probably gonna win if that happens.
Yes.
So, not to cut off the Sixers talk, but this game to me mimics real life when you're like, how did this happen to us? Because North Texas was 4-1, we were 1-4. We weren't really even in the 4 losses.
No.
And I don't know, like, maybe
the games we were closest were against the actual good
with
teams.
the good teams, yeah. So, like, if I'm a North Texas fan, like, I'm furious. Like, because this has happened to Penn State before.
I was
You're
gonna
like,
say,
how do you
know
lose
what this
that
is?
game?
This is Penn State, Michigan State, like.
Yeah, in
That's
2017 and
yes.
2018. And, like, see, everything that North Texas is doing wrong is exactly what was happening to us in our 4 losses. So maybe we can keep up momentum and have our first undefeated show, our first undefeated episode. I have no idea who we play next and where it's at. The other game we won, Middle Tennessee State, was that on the road too? Have we lost every game at home?
I think so.
Oh! So, it was just interesting because I was thinking that. I was like, we beat North Texas, they're 4-1. Everyone, you know, they already talked, the commentators talked about an upset, you know? But,
What are you going to do?
Yeah, our records were like flipped. They'd only lost once, we only won once.
so, but it's fun to have, like, the Sixers. The Sixers have been in it the last few years, so it's not really that new. It just kind of feels like this year's up in the air.
Right, like, and the thing, like, I don't know if I'm rating teams like the best teams in basketball, like by tiers, right? If we're gonna go like tier 1, I feel I could make an argument for them to be in tier 1, but I don't know. Like, I feel like they're kind of in between tier 1 and tier 2. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, so who is in tier 1 then?
So, well, this is crazy because maybe not right now, but like healthy Lakers are tier 1. The Nets I would put in tier 1 just based on pure possibilities, but like you haven't seen it necessarily yet. You know what I mean? Like, so that's a little bit like with the Lakers we saw it last year and parts of this year. Like, they're really good. I'd put Utah there right now because they're just lights out. I know the Sixers beat them last time they played. And I think they only played them twice this year, and the home team won each game. But when we played out there, we were without Embiid. I don't know if we were without Embiid when we played them here. We might have been. But I just think the Sixers at their best are pretty good.
Yeah, they're low 1, upper
right,
2.
Like, so basically, I'd put those 3 teams in the top.
Block it,
And I think the Sixers, you could make an argument where the Sixers aren't as good as any of those teams. But not like worlds behind, but not as good as any of those teams. Whereas if you go to the second tier, you start talking about like the Suns and the Sixers and, you know, just some of those teams.
Yeah.
I think you can make an argument that the Sixers are the best of that second tier. You know,
sure.
like. So, but you look at it, if LeBron and AD aren't healthy, the Lakers aren't winning. I should say, if LeBron's not healthy, the Lakers are not winning a championship.
Right.
If he and AD are both healthy, like, I feel like they have to be the favorite. But it'll be interesting. And what's interesting is if they get hurt, like if they're out for a while yet, this year the 7 through 10 seeds play in a play-in.
Right, a play-in.
So like they have to, like, they can fall because if the Lakers are the 6th seed, for example, is anyone going to be like, oh, they're the 6th seed, but LeBron and AD are both healthy and coming back? Is anyone going to be like, oh yeah, you know you're not taking them? No, that would be ridiculous. So, Denver is very interesting out west as well. That was definitely a horse talk.
Yeah, it was.
Got to be scratching their heads right now. They know they have to go back to work and go back to work in a hurry.
Well, the coaches are going to want to go back to work, and the players are not going to want to show up in the film room. They're going to be hiding after this performance. This was embarrassing.
Both teams are playing out the stretch here. You want to get experience for guys who normally don't get in the game and try to avoid it.
So Phillies. So we're a week plus into the baseball season. The Phillies started off really strong, sweeping the Braves in a 3-game set. Then they took 2 out of 3 from the Mets. No, they took 1 out of 3 from the Mets. Right? They only took 1.
No, it took 2 out of 3.
Did they take 2? They were 5-1. Oh,
yeah.
Geez, yeah. So they were 5-1. Now they're in Atlanta to take on the Braves again, and they lost the first 2. They dropped to 5-3. But right before we came down here, you had just gotten here, and we were watching the game, and we were talking about how cool would it be if Didi hit a home run right here. We left the room to get a drink and came back down to Didi rounding the bases.
Right.
So the Phillies took the lead over the Braves when we came down here, about 8:15 or so, 8:20.
No.
What?
McKinnon? Is he our running back? Is he number 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, dislocated ankle.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, man. And currently the Phillies are beating the Braves 6-5.
Oh, really? It was 5-5 when I last saw.
It's 6-5 in the bottom of the 6th.
Oh,
so.
Gosh. I know it sounds silly. We're so early in the season. It would be big though. You don't want to get swept. And if you beat them this one, you've won 4 out of your first 6 with them. That would be big. Like I look at it though, like all right. Friday night's loss was bad. You got kind of smoked in that one. Last night's loss was bad because they just made a mistake that let a run in. Like pitcher looked the wrong way and. That's frustrating, but...
I don't know, I can run with B.J. Emmons.
Yeah, he's doing just fine.
So...
but, I think they're off to a good start. Everybody said, all off-season and at the beginning of the season, NLEs are going to beat up on each other. And guess what they're doing? They're beating up on each other. That's what happens. You just got to stay in it, right? You're not going to... Nobody's winning 100 games in that division. No one's probably even going to sniff it.
Victory!
In a shutout.
Convincing victory. That's what I like.
That was fun.
That was a lot of
fun.
That was good. We're working our way towards bowl eligibility. Oh, we got a recruit too. We got I think 3-star, but a 65 overall outside linebacker. So it's interesting to me that through the first week of the season when the Phillies were 5-1, I question the starting rotation. I know everyone was questioning the bullpen because of last year, but I felt like there was nowhere to go but up for the bullpen.
I told you last week, other than the Dodgers, the Phillies led in more games than any other team but the Dodgers last year. Yeah. And they didn't even make the playoffs because the bullpen was that bad.
Oh, God, we're at Auburn.
Well, glad we got that win in North Texas then.
Yeah. So, my question coming into the season was starting pitching. The first week, that looked pretty good.
Right.
Bullpen was incredible. But they were winning in spite of their offense, who weren't putting up a lot of runs. And you mentioned the mistakes, but I feel like that's what's caught up to them recently. They've not been able to put up enough when their starting pitching or their bullpen is average.
Right.
The offense needs to get it together if they want to have any shot at challenging in the NL East. But like you said, it's super early. Right. I'm happy that the Phillies are above 500. I'm happy that they're competing with the teams that are expected to be better than them.
Yeah.
Get back to me once we're 54 games in. You're a third of the way through.
Like, what do we say? Memorial Day. Let's look at it Memorial Day. That's when it starts getting your attention. It has my attention the whole time. But you know what I mean? That's when it should start grabbing your attention. Once we're in June. So, yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm happy that baseball is back.
Oh my gosh, I love
for
it.
real. I feel like last year didn't even happen. You know?
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Upgrade.
I'm so excited to have it back. Oh man.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So, and Alec Boehm looks good.
Oh, he looks great. Should have won Rookie of the Year last year.
He should have won Rookie of the Year. So it's just fun to have relevant baseball. Hopefully that doesn't change. But yeah, it's just fun.
Right. Exactly.
That's what you want out of sports. That's what they're supposed to be, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So,
let's see. Think about what else.
I'm not used to having so little points for recruiting either. That really throws me off.
Yeah.
What skills do you want to upgrade for the offense and defensive coordinator?
What are our options?
So defensive coordinator, we can do a second, getting off blocks, stopping the run, pass rush, or healthy and fatigue less?
I do getting off blocks, honestly.
Okay. Now the next time we are up, we can do
Yeah.
any of these other ones. All right, and then offensive coordinator, healthy and fatigue or ball security.
Ball security.
Yeah, I agree. Now we can start. So that's good. So next upgrades, we can really start to make a name for our coordinators and our head coach and us. All right, we're ready to take on Auburn. Oh, they're only 3-4.
Yeah, but they're ranked.
Oh man. No, not anymore. They're not. They were.
Okay.
So they have us by 4 on offense and 11 on defense. Oh boy.
Good, great, grand, wonderful. Give it a shot.
Oh yeah, I should see what uniform options we have. So we have to wear white. Should I put white pants on? Should we go all white?
Yes, we should.
That's what you like, huh?
I do.
With white socks?
Yep, and white cleats.
White and team color cleats?
Yeah.
Is there all white? Yeah, there you go. Here you go. I want Nike. Oh well. Alright, we're gonna go with the all white look. So we head down to Auburn. So you're good with the multiple D, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Alright,
We had
well.
a lot of zone defense in that last game.
Hey,
But
it worked.
for
It
us.
worked.
We don't
So
really have the guys to match up.
yeah, this
with
is
North
gonna be.
Texas, let alone in this game.
I mean, I know Auburn's only 3-4, but it's an SEC team.
Yeah, they're 3-4, but a heck of a lot better than us. So.
Yeah, we're 2-4. So
Right.
I'd like to be 3-4 heading out of this
Good
game.
news is we're on the road again, right?
We are on the road. Yeah, that's right. We're on the. We can't win at home. We're road warriors. So, anything else in the sports world? I guess we could talk a little bit more NFL draft.
That's what I was going to go to next.
Yeah.
So
I'll be mad if the Dolphins don't get Jamar Chase.
okay,
So put
what's
that
going
out
to
there.
happen at 3?
So 1 is Trevor Lawrence to the Jaguars.
Yeah.
2 is probably Zach Wilson to the Jets.
I agree.
3 is where the Dolphins. Well, it was the Texans, but that was traded to Dolphins in a trade years ago. And then the Dolphins traded with the 49ers. So the 49ers are up. They have to be taking a quarterback. And for the longest time, people were just debating, is it going to be Justin Fields or Trey Lance? And now all of a sudden, the betting favorite is Mac Jones.
Right.
So, which is, like, it's crazy to me just to think, like, a year ago, like, no one was talking about him. This happens every year.
Right.
It's just amazing to me that it could come this far. But again, like, it happened with Burrow. Like, Burrow was a nobody until last year, and he looked the part in the NFL for the little bit we got to see of him. Unfortunately, he got injured. You want me to kick?
Yeah, I forgot.
All right. So, I mean, I don't know. It's tough for me because of such the quick rise and the limited sample size. But we mentioned over the last few weeks when we talked NFL draft that the only reason he wasn't the starter at Bama earlier is because of who else was there.
Right, exactly. And that's how it goes at Bama for so many things. Like, yeah, it's not like he wasn't a stud. You know, he just.
Right. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it happens. But then the question comes, you know, are people just not impressed with Trey Lance?
Oh, gosh.
With Trey Lance because he didn't have enough games, and the games he did have, he didn't show enough? Whereas Mac Jones didn't have a lot of games, but he showed a lot. And
Right.
of course, you can argue, yeah, well, look at the two teams he's playing with,
Right.
and playing against, and playing for.
But at the same time, when people say that, when they're comparing Mac Jones to Justin Fields, and they're like, look who Mac Jones had. Okay, but relatively speaking, look at who Justin Fields has compared to the Big Ten. And I'm a Big Ten fan, you know what I mean? But like, he's got the best teams too, you know what I mean? Like, so it's not like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to me to only count that in one direction. That frustrates me a little bit. So,
Yeah. But, and I know, was it Orlovsky was getting, like, hammered for what he said about Justin Fields? But it doesn't surprise me that someone has come out and said that. Now, could it be an opposing executive? Of course it could. It could just be someone blowing smoke. But I feel like for a long time, people have been questioning how high should Justin Fields go.
Right.
And now we're starting to see that the top 3 might be Lawrence, Wilson, Jones. Could Fields even be 5?
There we go.
There we go. I like it. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm glad that my team has nothing to do with a quarterback this year, at least you would think, with the way they've set themselves up. You know the top three are going to be quarterbacks. Who goes at 3, I'm not sure. I'm most interested in what we talked about last week, 4 and 5. What are the Falcons going to do? And then what do the Bengals do? Falcons aren't as big of an issue to me. And I would love if they took a quarterback to, eventually succeed Matt Ryan. Because that just means even more people are available for my Dolphins.
Right, exactly. Or even just trade out of it for somebody who does want that quarterback.
Right.
Now the offense gets ready to take.
I need the Bengals to not take Jamar Chase. That's what I need. They need to take Sewell or Pitts. Because I'm not sold on. I am not a big Pitts fan. Like,
I don't know what to think. I really.
Again, I feel like he burst onto the scene, had a great year at Florida this year.
So here's the problem. Like, I'm not 100% sold, but I also look at. And I'm not. He won't be there with the Eagles not being up there now. But like, I also look at the Eagles and I'm like, he might be the best weapon the Eagles would have.
Oh, come on!
Not counting.
You gotta be kidding me.
Not counting Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is the best weapon the Eagles have. Not ideal, but we'll be all right.
But if the Bengals do take Chase, I don't know what Miami does, and I don't know what I want them to do. Because I'm not sold on Pitts. I know that's kind of blasphemous around the draft community, but I'm not. And I feel like Sewell is a luxury. Miami may need help on the offensive line, but
they need a playmaker.
But they need a playmaker. They have a young offensive line. It's Sewell supposedly supposed to be really, really good. It's hard for me to really examine a tackle that played for Oregon. How often do we get to watch them play? So I'll take the draft Nick's word. But I don't know. I feel like I need Chase there. If Chase is gone and it comes down to Sewell or Pitts, I want Sewell.
Okay.
But I would not be opposed to them taking Waddle there.
Right.
As much as I like Devontae, that's too early for me. Come on.
Too early for him?
To me it is. So.
What if Chase and Pitts, well, I guess you just said.
You got it.
Waddle. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard for me to figure out what the Eagles are going to, what's even going to be there because it's been crazy, trying to figure it out. I would love for one of the playmakers to still be there, some of the defensive guys. Some of the defensive guys work their way in there. Have all the quarterbacks go. Not all, obviously, but you know what I mean? I would love for Waddle, or honestly, Smith, or any of them to slip to where the Eagles could get them.
I feel like Smith's most likely to make it outside the top 10, but I just wonder, we've talked about this, if you want offensive weapons, you take him and don't think twice about it. But he's sort of comparable to Rager, or you're not exactly the same, but you're not getting the bigger body. The Waddle's not huge either. Chase is by far the number one receiver, and he's one of the better receivers to come out in the last 5 years or so.
Right.
So I'm very excited that I'm really hopeful Miami can get him, and Tua and Chase can develop real chemistry. But the Eagles, I feel like there's so many directions they could go. They could go cornerback.
Well, they have so many needs.
They could go linebacker. I feel like there's part of me that wants to see Parsons go top 10, but I think he's going to go more 11 to 16. So.
Right where the Eagles are.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But I think I mentioned this stat to you last week, too, about how Eagles haven't drafted a linebacker in the first round in
like 40 years or something.
yeah, 40 years.
So I don't know. I don't know that Penn State gets any in the first round this year. I think more likely it's Owe over Freiermuth because.
Well, Parsons is gone in the first round.
Oh right. Sorry, I should have said outside of Parsons.
Oh yeah.
Outside of Mike, I don't know that Penn State gets a second guy in the first round.
Right. Owe is interesting because he put up freakish combine numbers.
I feel like he's.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he went in the first round. I don't know that I'd take him in the first round.
Right, that's where I'm at. I don't want to disparage Penn Stater,
it's the opposite with Freiermuth. Like, I don't think he'll go in the first round, but I think he is going to produce like a first rounder.
I think he will produce better than Owe. Now, if Owe goes in the second round, like, fine. Like, I'm okay with that. You're taking a slight risk on high ceiling. Like, and that's what happens in the NFL draft, especially with teams late in the first or in the second round. That pick six really pisses me off.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like, I think the key to Owe is that he needs to go to the right system. Absolutely, you know what I mean? Like, if he gets somewhere with like a really good, I know this sounds ridiculous because it's the NFL, but like a really good like teacher, you know, kind of like the line coach or wherever they're going to end up putting him. That's essential because he's going to need to kind of grow into that.
Yep.
But he's got the physical tools to do it, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Freiermuth, I think, is going to be more of a plug-and-play kind of guy. Like,
I completely agree. And he's more of a, like, pure traditional tight end than Pitts is.
Yeah, yep. So that could be interesting. I think you'll see some guys go later. So when we look at it, you know, when we look at some of the other Penn State guys, I hope Mennett gets drafted.
Yeah, I would like to see him in the 5th or 6th.
Like Fries or someone will probably get drafted. So like, we'll have some guys there. Oh, you know who else? Like Shaka Toney is another guy who I hope ends up in a good spot and is able to make a team.
Yep.
And I think he could turn some heads. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. But
well, he was the only one doing anything against Indiana at the end.
He was the only one doing anything a lot of times, it felt like, in the first 5 games. So we'll see. But
so the draft is Thursday, April 29th. Justin and I are planning on doing what we did last year. Dropping the ball.
Third down now. They need to get it out to midfield. Makes the grab and steps out right away.
I didn't think at all he was going to
hit the out route against man coverage for a first down.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm excited for Penn State to see what they look like this fall.
Yeah, like was last year just an aberration because of the circumstances? Yeah, it'll be interesting. What's Clifford gonna do? You know, is last year an aberration?
Because like, I don't think they're sold. If there's somebody enters the transfer portal after spring practices, I think Penn State's gonna maybe hop on it. They haven't shut the door on that, which would be really interesting.
I don't know. I feel like that's.
I mean, it all depends on who you get. Like, if you get a guy who's coming in, like, the problem is, I feel like that says what you think about your guys that you have currently too.
Right. Well, yeah.
With Clifford, I think it is what it is. Like, I think we know, like, his ceiling can be all right.
He barely had the ball. Was getting tackled.
But you
Yeah.
can really mess with an offensive
Like
game
he can be pretty good, but he's not. And this will sound ridiculous, but in college football terms, he's not what Trace McSorley was for Penn State. You know what I mean? Like, and that's okay. Like, Trace is going to go down as one of the better Penn State.
It's the ball.
As one of the better Penn State quarterbacks. You know, from production wise and everything like that. So, but what's interesting to me is that the underclassmen and some of the guys they have coming in.
It's the 11th play of the drive.
But it's well, we'll see. I really hope they have some. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you hung
I
on.
can't believe he held on. All those other easy catches and they freaking drop it.
In these kind of situations, you're doing something right.
Oh gosh. We need a score here.
I know. I'm watching the clock.
I know. I'm just
First down.
nervous over a video game.
Story of my life.
And he makes it out to about the 14-yard line.
It's a good job by the defense to remain aggressive.
I'm just so nervous to throw the ball
No, I get it.
because I know where I want him to throw it, but he doesn't throw it there.
And this is the 13th play of this drive.
13-play drive.
They line up in the jumbo set. Brought down after a nice run up the middle. The Owls are going to call their second timeout. So again, a third down as the offense lines up.
Dude, that's Orville too. What do you want me to do? Take the gimme or try to get the 7?
We have a timeout yet, right?
Yeah.
I try and go for it. I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, look, what's the difference between being down 14 and being down 11 for us?
Right.
Here comes the pressure.
Of course.
To find out what kind of character this football game is, I thought they had a chance to kind of
Yeah, that's more likely actually. So yeah, I should probably.
character they have to try to get back in the game.
All that for nothing. That's so frustrating.
Tackle at the 9-yard line. So it's second down and about 2 yards.
So I think we're gonna receive right to start.
Yeah, I think so.
The Tigers in front, 14-0.
Oh my. So, well, here we go.
Yeah, let's get an update here on the Phillies.
Yeah. It was, what, 6-5?
All right, Reese and David, thanks, guys. Second half action just about ready to start here. He just drills this one.
Need another big drive.
It is 6-6. Proper.
He gets out to about the 15-yard line.
Great.
The Tigers continue to get it done on the defensive side of the football field.
Yeah, they've done a good job of building this lead and almost determined here to protect it. Let's see if they can hold on here for the rest of the way.
There's got to be some sense of urgency to this offense right now. They don't have the luxury of wasting drives if they want to get back in the game. And he's taken down. The 23
There you go. No wasting drives, right?
on the
That's what they
carry.
say.
That's what they say.
It's second down, and they're about 2 yards away from the sticks. Up the middle, first down.
Either way, I feel like South Florida is going to be our worst game so far.
Yeah.
No matter how the last quarter and a half go here.
Fires complete over the middle.
make up for dropping a touchdown.
Yeah. The defenders are really going to have to get their heads into this game. That was a big play, and on first down, no less.
1st and 10. Ball on the 42-yard line. Makes it out to about the 50.
So I know it's crazy early for prediction time here, but what do you think for Penn State next year?
Oh, God.
At first, I'm like, no, you're going to miss it. He's wide open. Like, not you, but the quarterback. And then I'm like, oh, no, that guy's going to pick it off. Touchdown.
Right.
So it's 3rd down, and they've got about 2 yards to go.
So, do they have their big games at home? No, Ohio State's not. Oh,
Ohio State's on the road. Michigan's at home.
And they'll still be a little short of the 1st down line.
Big Cat Bryant.
It's a positive yard, but this defensive line really busted through.
If that's not an SEC lineman name, I don't know what it is.
Right. 67-yard field goal.
So they're going to go for it here.
There you go.
Well, I'm not sure I really agree with this call to go for it, but that's why I'm not coaching, folks.
Nice catch.
The 44-yard line.
That's the guy that got jacked up.
I didn't want to say it when you were running the play, but I'm like, maybe our backup running back can catch the ball out of the back.
Maybe he can. That's so frustrating.
Yes.
Such a simple play that's guaranteed like 4 to 6 yards at a minimum, and he's dropped it like every time.
Throws a strike over the middle. Tackle made at about the 37-yard line. That'll be a 7-yard pickup.
Hey, they picked up a nice gain of 7 yards on that play. Great pass.
Why just come back and that field goal will matter?
2nd down, and they're going to need about 3 yards.
14-13. 14-12. Oh.
Makes it to the 35-yard line.
What are you thinking for Penn State?
And this is the 10th
So,
play
you
of
know,
the
me,
drive.
blind optimist, man. Like,
10-2?
yeah. Why not? Well, so here you go. You talk
Oh,
about
you gotta be kidding.
big games are our big games at home. No, and you have to start at Wisconsin week 1.
Yeah, that does suck.
Because what did I say to you when they started off so bad last year? I said, this is why I don't want to hear anyone ever complain when you're seeing them play.
On the catch, oh, they strip it out.
When they're playing. When they're playing, you know, Akron and stuff like that in week 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Like, that's why, you know, like.
Right, at Wisconsin week 1.
Right.
Catch the ball. Like, you're a wide receiver.
Here's a run. They'll knock him down for a loss.
In my Penn State dynasty, I'm now in 2019, which is year 7. I told you because Austin starts at outside linebacker.
That's right.
But I just got the #1 overall recruit that's a wide receiver. He's already like an 83 or something like that, as to when he'll be a true freshman.
Gets it out in a hurry. And they couldn't hook up on
Oh,
I was going to say, he was out of bounds.
whew. That was huge.
Yeah, I shouldn't have blitzed everyone.
So I have to look up Penn State's overall schedule because, like, I know the Wisconsin game and obviously the Ohio State game.
They have Wisconsin. Oh, come
Come on.
They play Wisconsin, and then.
That's the end of 3 quarters to play. And this one's a little tighter than the extra.
Do they have Auburn in week 2?
Auburn.
No, they're not week 2, are they?
I don't know.
No, Ball State,
Okay.
then Auburn, then Villanova,
Right. Gosh.
then Indiana. So they start at Wisconsin, but then they have 4 straight home games. They don't play on the road until October 9th at Iowa.
Wow. So at Iowa too, man.
So at Wisconsin, at Iowa, at Ohio State.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I don't know.
I'll say 8-4.
Oh gosh, that would be disappointing to me.
I just like looking at the schedule and who they have to play. Like they could be 2-2 after the non or well.
Yeah. So here's what's gonna happen. Well, I mean, I'd love for this to happen. We talk about changing expectations. So let me go 9-3. All right. So 9-3, but they win week 1 at Wisconsin, and all of a sudden I'm thinking national champions. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. My dad's making fun of us.
What else is new?
He was quiet while we were whipping up on North Texas, though.
Yeah.
I guess I need to start throwing the ball a little here. Because,
Do you want me to take a timeout to save 15 seconds, or just let
no, just let it go. So what I would say on the sidelines in front of the players, too. Like, we're never going to score 2 touchdowns. Just let the clock run. So, yeah, I just...
my
my.
Thank
the Lord.
Goodness.
The Tigers have a defense that's the sight to behold.
Man, now I'm glad we kept it close because like we can prove that we can hang, but now it makes that pick 6 even makes me more mad.
Everybody plays as one, and they've been fun to watch today.
Both squads are digging in now. Let's see what happens on this next drive. Less than 3 minutes in the game. Out of bounds, the 24-yard line.
It's not the throw I wanted, but better than throwing a pick.
It's 2nd and 6.
Yeah, so...
Ball on the 24-yard line.
Well, what do you think happens with Penn State running backs?
I think they have a huge year.
He's got to throw it in a hurry. He steps out at the 27.
And I think Noah King has a good year.
You think Kane is the guy? I didn't know Kevon Lee was going to be the guy.
I think it's going to be a completely different role too, because I think the offense is going to be good this year. Yeah. So at Wisconsin, so let's just say they started with a loss.
It's almost picked off.
So if they start with a loss,
pick it.
0-1, but they beat Ball State. So we'll say 1-1. I'm going to go with a win against Auburn because they get them at Penn State and it's a new coach and everything at Auburn.
But do you have them beaten Wisconsin?
No. So I have them 2-1. Beat Villanova 3-1. Beat Indiana at home at Penn State. So 4-1. Lose at Iowa 4-2. Beat Illinois 5-2. Lose at Ohio State 5-3.
And he dropped it.
Win at Maryland 6-3. Beat Michigan at Penn State 7-3. Beat Rutgers.
From their own 35-yard line.
Your Michigan State is the last game.
Yeah, but beat Rutgers and Michigan State to win 9-3. That's kind of what I have. With all 3 losses kind of coming on the road: Wisconsin, Iowa, and Ohio State. Which it's crazy to think about. Like, man. You win all 3 of those. You win all 3 of those. You absolutely have a shot. But you might have to beat Wisconsin again.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, to beat a team week 1 and to have to play them again at the end of the season is completely different.
No, absolutely.
It would be awful to beat, like, and I know it won't happen because Michigan State's not that team, but like, if you had to like play a team in the other division and you win that game in the last week of the season, then you had to play them again the next week. Like, that would be not fun.
There was, in my Penn State Dynasty on here, there was a weird thing that happened with, like, a couple teams where, like, involved Notre Dame, USC, like, they played each other and then they had to play in the bowl game again. Like, it was just, like, super weird.
Yes!
So now here's my question. I didn't use any timeouts. Do we kick it deep?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you want to try the onside, we can.
No, I've never recovered one, so...
Right, but I mean, why not now?
No, it's alright.
Okay.
I'd rather take my chances that you can get them on a 3 and out with the timeouts, and I can try to somehow... Man, now I wish we had those 15 seconds.
I hate it.
No, we wouldn't have the timeouts then.
Nice drive.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of just shell-shocked from last year's Penn State season because they were, 4-5, turned down a bowl game. Oh, what if you would have fumbled? Well, you know they're running it, so.
Yeah.
I just, I feel like last year, different circumstances, they win at least the Indiana and the Indiana and Nebraska. Like, I feel like they easily could have, should have won both of those. They, for some reason, were not in that, Maryland game at all. Like, that was the one that just stood out for sure.
Right.
Like Maryland and Ohio State for the most part. But all the other losses, like the other 3 losses, it was just like, I guess Iowa wasn't great, but at least Nebraska and Indiana, you could definitely see them winning the game. 6-3 isn't what we wanted. You were thinking 8-1,
Right.
But still, 6-3 would be infinitely better than 4-5. And 6-3, maybe they go to a bowl game. They choose to go to a bowl game. Although they didn't go to a bowl game when they had won 4 in a row. But there's so many other extenuating circumstances. It's tough to hold back.
Oh, he beat me on that.
So yeah, I don't know. I just hopefully we get a full regular schedule. And I think, honestly, 8-4 and going to a decent bowl game, I think would be a pretty good season. Fumble. But I can't see them beating Ohio State.
Right.
I don't think they're going to open the season with a win at Wisconsin. And I don't know what to expect from Iowa, but it's on the road, and we hate playing at Kinnick for, so many years. Things have gone wrong there, although a couple things have gone right the last few years. But the last few times we played there, we won, right? Juwan Johnson, and then 2 years ago now, this fall will be 2 years ago, we won then there. So we've actually won at Kinnick the last 2 times we played, but there's just something about it that doesn't sit well. So
they'll strip it and run it in for a touchdown. Or not.
Oh, you stopped it. It's 4th down. Oh. Well, it's been fun. I don't know. What do you think about any last words on Penn State 2021 upcoming season?
Well, like I said, this is ridiculous, but game 1 is really going to set the tone. Like, am I looking at a nice season, but you know what I mean? Not but dreams of anything really bigger in week 1. The thing is, with week 1, you still have a shot. Like, if you win the rest of them, but if you lose at Wisconsin week 1, I don't know, what you do.
Yeah, I know.
But short of blowing out Auburn and stuff, coming on, then you're okay, well maybe they'll get something
I think
going.
The only saving grace this year is that last year everyone, and I think the coaches and the players, expected to go in and beat up on Indiana.
Yeah.
And that when that didn't happen, and then the way they lost, I still contend that he did not. That ball was down before it hit the pylon.
He did not get it.
But I feel like that completely took any win that was in the sails. This is already a weird COVID year to begin with.
Right, but they knew it was over then.
But yeah, I think that they're well, there goes any shot at anything big.
And then you get smoked by Ohio State, and really there goes any chance.
By Ohio State, and then you look awful against Maryland.
Right, Maryland was just
yeah. And then
the follow through of those butt kickings the first 2 weeks.
They can't beat Nebraska when they should have. They can't beat Iowa. They didn't look great.
Those games they just couldn't get out of their own way,
right?
Because they felt.
And then all of a sudden they go on a 4-game tear, including a win over Michigan.
Right.
But I feel like this year's different. Even if they lose to Wisconsin, it's on the road in Madison. That's tough. Wisconsin's a good team.
How do they look? They didn't look good in that loss to Indiana.
Right.
You know what I mean? Do they look good? But Wisconsin's just good, that's one of those big things. And you could avenge that loss to Wisconsin if you win out. I know that's getting way ahead of ourselves, but what you hope for is if you lose to Wisconsin week 1, you hope Wisconsin goes undefeated and then you beat them You're 11-1 and you
Yeah.
beat them in the Big Ten championship game.
Right, but I mean that means going to Ohio State, going to Iowa, beating Michigan at home,
Well, and if they do
not
all those,
choking
I will
against
expect to beat Wisconsin in
right,
in this game.
not choking against one of the inferior opponents later.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean,
We'll
honestly, like
but if they win that game, man, that Auburn game looks huge.
yeah,
Like the Indiana game, is huge. Like
Every
it starts
year-
to get exciting at that point.
other than the year like the 2 years following the surprise Big Ten championship in 2016, 17 to 18, those years I expected to win 11 or 12 games and be challenging for a spot in the playoff. That didn't happen. I mean, they won like 11 or 12 games, but
Right.
they lost too many earlier in the
Right.
season that it sucked at the end of the year. Now at this point, like I just want a great year to me would be 10-2 and a New Year's Six bowl.
Right.
Like that's always what I want.
Which
Obviously, I want 11 or
and
12.
I
but
know, like that 2017 loss at Michigan State, that was just bad. But that was like the 4-hour rain delay. The year before that, or the game before that, though, the Ohio State one.
they should have won that one
They should have. They were up double digits, and
in the fourth quarter.
they put up 30-some points at Ohio State. That's a perfect example of in the biggest games, the defense hasn't shown up. I stand by that. Like, look at USC
Yeah, you've
in
said
the Rose
that
Bowl.
plenty of times.
Like,
Yeah.
the biggest games, the defense hasn't shown up, and that's been frustrating. Like, the defense has won some big games, but in the biggest games, the defense hasn't gotten it done.
Right.
So,
No, you're right.
that frustrates me.
But I'm right now. I'm gonna say 8-4.
I'm gonna go 9-3.
I just
I
feel like
think they pull off one of those on the road, but they'll probably lose another one somewhere else.
Wisconsin, Ohio State, Iowa are I feel like probably losses, and then you have Auburn at home, and then you got to win the other games, including Michigan and Indiana. Now those are both at home, but
Right.
I don't know. So we'll obviously be talking a lot more about Penn State in the future. We've got a good 4.5 months until those games kick off, and we'll be starting our NFL previews in about a month. We got the NFL draft coming up, and I think I started to say it, but Justin and I are planning on doing a first round live podcast on Thursday, April 29th, and but we got 2 more shows before then. Up next is April 18th. We'll have episode 332, and we will have games 8 and 9. If we want to become bowl eligible, we're probably going to have to. Well, we're definitely going to have to win those 2. So, do you want to advance it and see who we play next?
Sure.
Since I got the recruiting done.
Gosh.
Requires you to know how to use the controller. There you go. So, we are at UTSA. So, the Roadrunners. We play at Texas San Antonio next. Losing by a touchdown to Auburn. See, we didn't kick the field goal, or I didn't get the touchdown, which I should have had. And I threw that pick 6. And that's against Auburn at Auburn. Like, we hung in there.
Right,
Like, we hung in there. We were ready. Now, they weren't great this year. 3-4, now 4-4. But you can tell that we're ready to break through. If we can get some more talent on the roster,
That's right.
we
That's
can.
right.
That 2-5 could be 4-3. But it's fun to play. Justin and I just do that in our quote free time, which is not abundant. So we're getting better hopefully as we go, and I think you're seeing that. But it would be nice to get a winning record this year, roll into year 2 at Florida Atlantic, and maybe make some noise and upset some of these bigger programs that we're playing. Because we chose to play Miami, Florida, and Auburn. You know, we edited the schedule, and we'll do the same thing when we get to season 2.
That's right.
We're gonna play these big boys, and hopefully we can beat one of them.
Was it BYU? Anybody, anywhere, anytime?
Something like that.
But then didn't want to.
No, right?
I say that. That's unfair.
Hey, we got another commit.
And there we go.
Left guard. So, and we didn't lose out anyone else. I don't think. Oh yeah, Dan, the running back, committed of course, USF. Oh, and someone locked us out. But that's okay. So, we got Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners up next. And Justin will be on offense when we come back on Sunday, April 18th. And we might have to figure out if we can play a couple games in between now and then because
So you read that?
What's that?
Just how bad. Florida Atlantic faces UTSA in Conference USA doormat battle.
Oh, sweet. Well, good. That means we could hopefully win. Although we thought that against, Marshall and South Florida, too.
Right.
So
Yeah, the good teams are the ones we've hung around on.
yeah, so I don't know. Justin and I might have to hook up, see if we can get something going here this week or next week after our next show, because in 2 weeks we have a Bulldog Hour, and then we have the draft that Thursday,
Right.
and then we're off for 2 weeks. So because we missed 2 of these at the beginning of this, we're 2 weeks behind because we wanted to be starting season 2 in mid-May when we start our NFL preview. So Justin and I might try to attempt to get another couple games in here somewhere, or I might have to get a game in here somewhere just so that we can wrap this all up, either on the show next week or in between. So we'll see. But UTSA is 3-5, so if we want to possibly become bowl eligible next week or whenever we play, is a big one. So Justin, you have anything else to add before we go?
No.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in and watching us. Be sure to check out jmnjrradio.com. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Google or wherever you can find podcasts. Check out SoundCloud. We're on there as well. And we will be back to discuss the sports world while we play our NCAA Football 14 Dynasty in 1 week's time. Until next time, for Justin Raffoff, I'm Joe Mays. Thanks for listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. Woo-hoo! You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.